In 2021, one Bitcoin was worth more than a brand new car. By the end of 2022, that same Bitcoin could barely buy a scooter. Billions of dollars vanished. Entire companies, once worshipped as the future of finance, evaporated in weeks. But here's the mystery. It didn't start with greed, or even with crypto itself. It started with trust. And like every great financial collapse before it, that trust was misplaced. How did a movement built on the promise of transparency become one of the most spectacular financial implosions in modern history? This is the story of the 2022 crypto winter, the collapse that shattered illusions, exposed hidden empires, and reminded the world that even in a digital age, human nature never updates. To understand how crypto froze, we first need to remember when it burned the brightest. Rewind to 2020. The world was in lockdown. Central banks printed money like never before. Stimulus checks flowed into pockets, escom, and soon into trading apps. The message was simple. Your money is dying in the bank, but here, your money can grow. Bitcoin soared from $5,000 to nearly $70,000 in just 18 months. Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, names once known only to Reddit users, became dinner table conversation. It wasn't just an investment anymore. It was a belief system, a new kind of financial religion. Crypto wasn't just promising profit. It was promising freedom, freedom from governments, freedom from banks, freedom from the old rules. But every new system inherits the flaws of the people who build it. And in the shadows of this digital gold rush, a new class of crypto emperors emerged. Young, brilliant, charismatic, and dangerously untested. Among them, one stood above all, a man who would be hailed as the next Warren Buffett, and later compared to Bernie Madoff. His name was Sam Bankman-Fried. Before FTX became a $32 billion empire, Sam Bankman-Fried was a math prodigy, a quiet, disheveled MIT graduate who believed in effective altruism. The idea that you should make as much money as possible, just to give it away. In 2017, he founded Alameda Research, a crypto trading firm that used arbitrage, buying Bitcoin in one market and selling it in another to earn risk-free profits. It worked. He made millions. And soon, he built FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange that promised to do what others couldn't, combine the speed of Wall Street with the fairness of crypto. Investors lined up. Venture capital poured in. Names like Sequoia, SoftBank, and even BlackRock backed him. In just 3 years, FTX went from a dorm room idea to a global giant. Sam became the new face of trust in crypto. Awkward, vegan, always dressed in t-shirts. He lived in a luxury penthouse in the Bahamas but drove a Toyota Corolla. He promised transparency, safety, and ethics, the values crypto claimed to stand for. And yet, even as FTX rose, the cracks were already there. The exchange was deeply tied to Alameda Research, Sam's first company. And behind the scenes, billions of dollars were moving quietly between them. At first, it didn't matter. Prices were only going up. Everyone was rich on paper. But when the tide turns, even the biggest castles can be made of sand. 2021 was the golden age. NFTs were selling for millions. Crypto billionaires were buying sports teams. Celebrities, from Matt Damon to Tom Brady, were telling millions of viewers that fortune favors the brave, and the bravest of them all, Sam Bankman-Fried. He became a political donor, a media darling, and a moral compass in an industry known for chaos. When other crypto firms collapsed, FTX stepped in to save them, presenting itself as the adult in the room. But something else was brewing beneath the surface. Something that started, unexpectedly, with a single token. Its name, Terra Luna. In May 2022, a South Korean entrepreneur named Do Kwon was running a stablecoin called Terra USD. A stablecoin is supposed to stay pegged to $1. The idea was revolutionary, a digital dollar independent of banks. But Terra's stability relied on a sister token, Luna, whose price was determined by algorithms, not actual cash. As confidence grew, Luna's value soared. People believed it was unbreakable. Until, one day, Someone tested that belief. A few massive sell orders triggered a chain reaction. The algorithm failed. Terra USD lost its peg. Within 48 hours, $45 billion in value vanished. This was the moment the crypto bull run snapped. Investors panicked. Funds imploded. And suddenly, the trust that fueled crypto began to crack. Sam Bankman-Fried's companies, Alameda and FTX, FOPA, claimed they were safe. But inside their balance sheets, a secret dependency was exposed. Much of their wealth wasn't in dollars. It was in their own token, FTT. When markets dropped, that token dropped, and their entire empire trembled. By November 2022, a single tweet would light the fuse. Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, announced he was selling all of Binance's FTT holdings worth hundreds of millions. The market saw it as a vote of no confidence. Within hours, users began pulling their money out of FTX, a digital bank run. Billions vanished from the platform in a single day. And when FTX tried to process withdrawals, there was nothing left. FTX had been using customer deposits to cover Alameda's losses. The empire of transparency was built on hidden leverage. On the 11th of November 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. More than 1 million creditors, billions in customer funds missing, and the once beloved genius of crypto under investigation. The winter had begun. In the weeks that followed, the dominoes fell one by one. Celsius, BlockFi, Voyager, Genesis, MP, crypto lenders that had promised risk-free yield were exposed as under-collateralized, over-leveraged, or outright insolvent. Thousands of small investors were wiped out, entire life savings gone in a keystroke. As crypto prices collapsed, so did the industry's credibility. Bitcoin dropped below $16,000. Ethereum lost more than 70% of its value. NFTs, once cultural status symbols, NFT, now traded for pennies. Meanwhile, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas and extradited to the United States, charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. He pleaded not guilty, claiming he never intended to commit fraud. But intention doesn't rebuild trust. By early 2023, the phrase crypto winter was everywhere, symbolizing not just a market downturn, but a psychological freeze. Investors were no longer chasing quick profits. They were questioning the entire foundation of the system. Because when the promise of decentralization turned into dependence on a handful of billionaires, was it really new finance or just old finance with better marketing? After every crash comes the search for a savior. Governments called for regulation. Crypto leaders called for self-policing. But neither seemed ready to confront the deeper truth. The problem wasn't blockchain. Belief that technology can replace trust. Belief that decentralization automatically means safety. Belief that human greed can be coded away. Crypto exchanges, meant to eliminate middlemen, became the new middlemen. Trustless systems became systems of blind trust. The irony was painful. FTX had been hailed as the bridge between crypto and the mainstream, the proof that this new world could be stable. Instead, it became the warning. By mid-2023, attempts to fix the market through new coins, stricter audits, and AI-powered trading bots had failed to restore confidence. People weren't asking, when moon, anymore. They were asking, can this survive? And yet, even in the coldest winter, something still burned quietly beneath the surface. Developers kept building, communities kept coding, and Bitcoin, battered but alive, refused to die. History never repeats, but it rhymes. Crypto's collapse was not unique. It echoed every great financial mania of the past. In 1637, the Dutch lost fortunes chasing tulip bulbs. In 1720, Britain was ruined by the South Sea Bubble. In 2008, Wall Street nearly destroyed the global economy with synthetic assets no one truly understood. Crypto was supposed to be the antidote to all of that. Transparent, decentralized, honest, but it fell to the same disease, the illusion of control. And if you think we've learned, the data says otherwise. Even after FTX's collapse, new coins launched every day. Over 20,000 cryptocurrencies still trade globally. By 2023, more than 60% of active tokens had already lost 90% of their value. And yet, retail investors kept buying. Because deep down, humans don't invest in markets. We invest in stories. The story of the next big thing. The story of freedom from control. The story of wealth, without work, without waiting. That's the real blockchain, not of code, but of psychology, connecting tulip bulbs, dot-com stocks, housing loans, and cryptocurrencies across centuries. Every crash feels like the end. But in truth, it's a reset. The 2022 crypto winter didn't kill blockchain, it forced it to grow up. Developers began focusing on real use cases: digital identity, decentralized data, cross-border payments. The hype burned away, leaving something quieter, smaller, and maybe stronger. But the scars remain. For many, crypto is now a synonym for betrayal. For others, it's still a dream worth rebuilding. Because the idea that money can exist without a gatekeeper, that idea is too powerful to die in a single winter. So what can we take from this winter of frozen fortunes and shattered trust? First, technology doesn't erase risk, it only hides it differently. FTX didn't fail because of blockchain. It failed because of people using complexity to mask corruption. Second, every financial revolution becomes what it claims to replace. Crypto wanted to end the power of middlemen, and instead created new ones with even less oversight. Third, the oldest currency in the world isn't gold or crypto, it's trust. And once that collapses, no algorithm can bring it back. As we stand at the edge of another cycle, AI, with AI, digital currencies, and new financial promises rising again, the lessons of 2022 whisper a warning. Every bubble begins with innovation and ends when belief outpaces reality. So when the next big thing arrives, as it always does, ask yourself, is this really the future, or just another story we want to believe? Because history may not repeat, but it never forgets. If you found value in understanding the story behind the crash, share this video. Because the more people understand how financial trust is built and broken, the harder it becomes to repeat the same mistakes.